Raven, I didn't ask you your accountant journey, how you ended up being counter. Now we have to put it in quotes because it's obviously now beyond the beans. How did you end up
So
in the profession?
interestingly enough, after I got a primary degree, a Bachelor of Accounting, I actually also ended up on a mine shaft, Impala Platinum in Rustenburg. And I worked there for a year, and my dad kept on asking me, when am I going to become a CA?
Okay.
And I had no interest in that. And I think through his perseverance, he convinced me to serve articles. So I served articles and studied part-time CTA and forward wind 20 years now, CFO at Trident Steel. And yeah, it's been a great journey. I've been in the steel industry for a long time, understand it. But like Charles said, we root ourselves in being accountants. That's the bedrock of nature of what we do. But we need to be more than that. Understanding the external environment in which we operate, being strategic in nature is key. Currently, the theme in our business is with ArcelorMittal announcing the shutdown of their long steel products. It just creates immense pressure in our business. We have to resource the steel that we purchase from them. We out at India at the moment, getting that steel in. And ArcelorMittal at the moment is producing the entire year's consumption that we would take in 2 months. We need to take that steel in 2 months and pay for it 30 days later. So you have to plan, you have to understand, scanning that environment is key. That's some of the issues that we deal with, as accountants.
Are forward looking. That sounds forward.
Yep.
Whereas I think when everybody thought they're going to become accountants, they thought, okay, we're just going to be reporting on what happened previously. Is that a fair statement?
No, absolutely. I think the days of us spending a lot of time and keeping our heads into board reports are gone. We need to be at the forefront of the business, understand what's going on. And the reporting is just a factor of what happened in the business, But making the right decisions, taking the right decisions, and not delaying a decision is equally important in our lives as well.
Yeah. In your when I interviewed you, you talked a lot about people empowerment. How is that? And because when you think of an accountant, you think of a very stiff individual with a calculator in the corner of the room, right? Who's not a people person, so to speak. Someone who was probably a geek in school or something like that. But what about that people management aspect?
Yeah, I think in our business specifically, we're in the business of steel, but we supply into the automotive industry in South Africa. So 2 distinct industries. And to get that skill in people across two industries is pretty difficult. So the people developments become imperative in our business. We need to create a pipeline of individuals, create a talent pool. So that's the first reason. The second reason I think should concern all of us as South African citizens. We know what the unemployment rate is in the country at the moment. Since 2010, and that's 15 years ago, our growth rate in South Africa has not been stellar. So if we are not growing as a country and as companies, we are not creating sufficient opportunities, specifically for school leavers and university graduates. And if you think about it, from 2010, it's 15 years. We've got another 10 years to get to a generation. And if we don't upskill our workforce at the basic level. So I'm speaking of technicians and artisans, not so much engineers and accountants. I think in 10 years from now, we'll lose a generation in our workforce, a skilled generation. And I think that's probably the key driver in our business as to why we skill people in the manner in which we do.
Awesome. And now with technology and the idea that technology are going to take up jobs, that even makes the challenge even bigger, I would think. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I think it's relevant to a certain extent. As an example, in our business, the type of machinery that we operate is electromechanical machinery.
Yeah.
You need an electrician. AI or a robot's never going to do that well.
Okay.
I believe so.
All right.
It's never going to do that for you. But
Yeah.
we need those technical skills at a basic level. I'm a firm believer of that.
Awesome. And you've done an MBA. Luleka, the MBA was not at GIBS, but it's an MBA nonetheless. And I don't know, many CAs perhaps grapple with the idea of whether do I need to do an MBA. I know I have thought of it as well. Why go and do an MBA when it's marketed that the accounting qualification should be sufficient in business? Should be. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, so I considered the MBA simply because I felt that people development or the HR side of a business was lacking. I latched onto that. I completed the MBA, and I eventually, figured out what is it that we're actually looking at from a people development perspective. At the end of the day, I think it really boils down to ROI on people.
Okay.
And I've actually come to the conclusion there's a couple of things us as leaders of businesses need to do. We need to remunerate and reward people properly, first thing. We need to be people enablers or mentors to our workforce. And that simply starts to change your focus to worry about the well-being of your employee or co-worker rather than has that employee actually met a deadline.
Mm-hmm.
You need to consistently raise the bar in terms of what you do and how you do. It brings in inclusiveness into the business, and you start to share in the success of the business. And lastly, I think formal training is important in any organization.
Yeah.
It absolutely leads to development. So for those reasons, I think it's imperative as bean counters.
Yeah.
We understand the people side, the human side of our business, and how to interact with those